Hey guys, welcome to the new installment of Toytrooper. This time we'll be reviewing the Star Wars Scum and Villainy IG-88 Assassin Droid 1/6 scale action figure from Sideshow Collectibles. Hey guys, here's the rundown. IG-88 comes with one shoulder bracer, 3 mines, 2 instrument pins, a sculpted blaster bandolier holster, a Blastech DLT-20A blaster rifle, also a Blastech E11 blaster rifle, and also the light up display base. Here we have IG-88 right out of the box. IG-88 is probably one of the more obscure characters in the Star Wars universe. He was in the original trilogy in a scene with Boba Fett and Darth Vader. He is an assassin droid, so he's not an alien or a human. So his body is very thin and mechanical, almost kind of a steampunk look. In my opinion, when I first saw him, he probably looked like a bit of a messed up Tin Man, or kind of reminded me of a mechanical pencil a bit. The best part of this action figure has to be the paint application. Because this figure is not made out of metal, they did a really good job making all the parts on the action figure look like it is, with all the rust and the weathering and all the patina that they added to all the joints and the limbs. Sideshow claims that there's 20 points of articulation on this action figure, but it is very limited. Unlike other action figures like Boba Fett, where it's a humanoid shape and the arms and the shoulders move, IG-88 is a droid-based body, so his movement is very mechanical. His head does spin. It's kind of hard to tell what's the front of his face sometimes, and so you're gonna have to check see if these little points, I think these are supposed to be his eyes right here. And then if you check out his arm, it doesn't go forward. It's stuck right here at this shoulder joint, but it does have a limited range of movement going backwards. This shoulder joint also doesn't spin, so you can't extend his arm forward. The way to get his arm out is, because it's built on a ball and socket joint, it pops out, and then that's it. There is an articulation point right here on his elbow, where his arm does go forward, but it doesn't go the full 90 degrees. So I am curious on how the blasters get held, especially by IG-88. It is the same thing with the other side as well. It just pops out like this. And it pops in, and then locks into place. His legs are the same way. There is a ball and socket, both legs. And then they do have this pivot function, but I'm not really sure if you could count that as articulation. If there is 20 points of articulation, I don't see it. I'm not sure how loosely Sideshow describes the articulation points, but because he is a droid, I can't really be disappointed. He actually does look stiff as is anyways, so it was expected. So let's look at one of the accessories that comes with IG-88. This shoulder bracer, it comes separately and it hangs over his shoulder. It's similar to Chewbacca's shoulder bracer. The 2 instrument pins that comes with the action figure, it fits right into the bracer itself. It's more of an eye candy item. It doesn't really have any other functions other than that. What's really cool is that this bracer kind of looks like the one that Chewbacca wears. And the best part of this bracer is the backside. One thing I never knew about IG-88 was that he carried an additional blaster on his back. We got here his Blastech E11 blaster rifle, and it fits right inside his bandolier holster. What's really cool is that this bandolier holster it connects to the shoulder bracer, not through like a clip or anything, but by magnets. So you just take this right up to the bracer and it connects and just holds there. And even with this blaster, which has some good weight to it, it still holds in place. And same goes with these mines. There's little magnets embedded inside the bracer. You just take this mine right up to it and it connects. What's great is you're not damaging the bracer, which is made out of cloth. There's nothing rubbing against it. And what's also great is if you have it on display, you don't have to worry about the blaster or the mines falling off and damaging or breaking. It just stays there. Very secure, very convenient, very awesome. So let's check out IG-88's trusty Blastech DLT-28 blaster rifle. What's really awkward about this weapon is because IG-88's hands are little claws that open up, it's kind of impossible for him to hold this weapon up. But Sideshow decided to add a little peg at the end of the gun and left a little hole at the forearm where the peg goes into the hole, and you wrap the little claws around the trigger point on the weapon and it stays in place. What kind of sucks is because his arm does not move forward, his only range of movement with the weapon is at the elbow point. But the arm is so weak that it can't really hold the weapon up at a 90-degree angle like this. It kind of weighs it down and goes downward. So the only thing you can really do with it for display purposes is kind of hang it down to the side, which defeats the point of having an action figure because you want to put him in action poses. But this is just a stationary stance with just the weapon, which is fairly disappointing. Here we have another cool feature on the IG-88 action figure. Sideshow included to add some light up action to IG-88's head. So what you do is you remove the top of his head, and there's a red cylinder with little bulbs inside, and there's 3 little batteries that goes inside it. And the batteries are actually included with the action figure, which is a surprise to me. Usually I have to go out and buy some batteries just to get these things to work. But it was a nice plus. And what you do is, after you get the batteries inside, you put IG-88's head back on. And to activate it, what you do is, you just press the button and it lights up. So what you do is, if you have no lights on, it kind of lights up. Kind of looks like Kit or a bit of a Terminator feel to it. But because IG-88's head doesn't have that many exposure points, you just get a couple red circles around the head and also a faint circle around the head as well. Coolest feature, not that crazy awesome or anything, but I'm not gonna complain. So here's the base that's included with the IG-88 action figure. This is the same base that comes with the Boba Fett, but it's not included with the Bosk. The Bosk came with the standard generic base with the Star Wars logo on it. I kind of wish that Sideshow included this base with all 3 of them so it matches. After I'm done here, I'm going to give this base to Bosk because he is about 1.5 inches shorter than IG-88, and it just looks a little bit more balanced on my shelf. But let me show you some of the cool features on this thing. There's a great paint on this base. Has this rusted weathering look with a bit of patina with this cool little grill or manhole cover look. If you check the bottom, there's a battery chamber that holds 2 AA batteries, which is also included. Thank you, Sideshow. You turn it on and the bottom lights up. So it adds a little bit of a cool factor to your action figure when he stands there. And I'm pretty sure it looks even better with the lights off. Unfortunately, it doesn't light up the action figure itself. It's very faint, but it's a cool theme base to have. I'm not sure if I'm going to be utilizing it much, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pulling the batteries out of it just so I don't damage the base. So here's the part of the review where I tell you whether this is a good buy or not. I would say for an IG-88, it depends on the collector. If you're a big Star Wars fan like me, or love the bounty hunters, or especially have an affinity for IG-88, then he's a great buy. Unfortunately, his price point when he first came out was above $150. And if you consider all the things I pointed out about this action figure, I think that price is a bit high and it's not justified. He's not like Boba Fett and Boss where they have multiple articulation points and you could set him up in cool little action poses. IG-88 is kind of stuck the way I have him right here, where it's just standing and to look pretty. He is definitely an eye candy piece. He's not really meant for anything else than that. But for the general collector who buys things here and there, $150, a huge chunk of change to drop on an action figure like him. And I would say most people will pass. I mean, I was one of those few people that did pass on the pre-orders and had to pick them up on eBay because I was so hesitant about buying him. But because I do own Boba Fett and Bosk, and I wanted the rest of the Scum and Villainy action figures, I did have to pick them up. So if you have a comic book store locally and you could get him under $150 and haggle down the clerk or whatever, then I say go ahead and buy him. Especially if you have Bosk and Boba Fett. But if you don't and you see them on eBay for above $200, and Sideshow is out of stock on these, so I'm pretty sure the price is going to get inflated, I say pass. It's not going to kill you to not have this action figure, and that $200 that you saved probably could go on to another cooler action figure down the line. So if you have the money, buy it. If you don't worry about it. You're not going to lose any sleep. So that's it for my review. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll be back with the review for the Sideshow Collectibles Militaries of Star Wars Toytrooper in the next week or so. So thanks for tuning in. If you have any criticism or suggestions, leave them in the comments. Or you could follow me on Twitter at GeekTrooper, or follow me on my blog on igeektrooper.com.